Hello, very good morning to you all, and welcome to the 50th edition of Trendz Talks. As you know, this itself is a big landmark for us because we have been trying to rope in people from different walks of life during the pandemic and trying to seek their advice and motivation so that they can share their experiences with us during these times. And we have somehow reached our 50th edition, so that's a landmark for us. And what best to have somebody who's multi-talented, and we seldom have somebody who's so talented come on our segment. And we got Dianna Wright, who is going to be part of us today. So she's a reggae singer, songwriter, independent artist. She's an actress, self-published author, a spoken word performer, a graphic designer, a music and movie producer. So let me hand it over to her so that she can guide and motivate us from here. So over to you, Diane.
Hi, and good morning to you all, you wonderful listeners. Okay, so I'm so thrilled to be here, and I do thank you for the invite to be here on this platform. Okay, yes, my name is Dianna Wright. I was born and raised in a beautiful parish called Clarendon in Jamaica. Clarendon is one of the 14 parishes in the country. Jamaica is just 90 miles of Cuba, and it's a tropical island. Very, very beautiful. Maybe one day you should all should visit Jamaica. Okay. Now I have been gifted, if I could say that, and I recognize this gift that the Most High has given me since I was like about 12 years old. Because at that time, when I was in primary school, I was very, very good at doing composition, doing essays and all of that. And that's when I recognized that, hey, I had a gift, of writing. And I've always getting like being like first in my English class or first in my literature class. And then I realized, that's when I know I have this beautiful gift. My singing, I was born and raised, of course, in the church, and I've always been singing, gospel music. And as you know, if you know Jamaica, Jamaica is a reggae country. Bob Marley, Bunny and the Wailers. Jamaica is just a reggae country. And so the music that I sing are inspirational music over the reggae beat. Is I sing about the Most High, Yahweh, and I started singing actually in church. But then I joined, there are so many groups in Jamaica, like the poetry groups, like the there's a very well-known group called the Dub Traffickers Poets. I was also a part of the Dub Traffickers Poets. As also a part of the JCDC, which is Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. I've entered a lot of competitions through JCDC, and I've won several awards from them in speech and drama presentation. And I've also did some personal, not some personal, but I've also worked with Kenny Salmon, who was former coordinator for JCDC, doing a lot of road shows for him along with the team. It was just beautiful, and also with Jamaican poets like Tommy Ricketts, um, a whole lot of them, Ras Rod, Jagger Fitzroy Cole. Oh my gosh, there's just Habakkuk. There's so many of the Jamaican poets that I've worked with, and it was just beautiful. However, though, I migrated to the United States in 2006, and when I came here, of course, I first went to Alabama, and it was different because the culture, it was a culture shock for me, and of course, I wanted to, when I leave Jamaica, to come here to set up my own business, because before I left, I had my own business. I had a graphics company. I was doing graphics designing, and I was also doing contracts for for companies. So when I came to Alabama and I tried to set that up, I realized it was a whole new ball game. It was very, very different. All the different loopholes and things that you have to go through. You have to do a registration. Yes, in Jamaica you register your business, but it was just very, very different and somewhat difficult. I know people might say, wow, you're in America, but you say it was difficult. It was difficult at first, because you just migrated here and you want to set up a business. You don't know the ropes, you don't know the people, don't know the country, you don't know the culture, and all of that I had to get to know. But it took me some time. I still wasn't able to really set up a business. I had to just work for a company, which was not up my alley. I went into healthcare and I worked and I did a very excellent job there. But the love for the music and the poetry was still in my heart. However, I did set up my own business then as a sole trader. It wasn't a big business, and that was when let's see, I think it was about 2010. I self-published my book. The first book that I had is called The Conquerors Quest, and in that book, it's a poetry book. There are beautiful inspirational pieces in there that helps to uplift you if you are from a spiritual background. If you're more cultural, there are beautiful pieces in there too that helps to uplift you. And then there are just pieces like, about nature and so on, which I'll read one of the more defining poems to you out of that book that has changed so many lives once I published that book. And that book is also on. I self-published the book. I did all the graphics work myself. I did the editing. I have my family to help me with the editing, and I do the publishing on my own. The book is called The Conquerors Quest. That book is very, very. It's a well-rounded book, and a lot of people have told me that they have found so many help in using that book from that book. That book is called The Conquerors Quest. So what I'm going to do, that book is also available on my website. You can get it at www.16bars.com. So 16barsmm.com. That's where you can find that book. All right. So what I'd like to do for you is read one of the poems from the book that has changed. So people have told me that this poem means so much to them. And it's called I Redefined Me. It says, I redefine me where you can no longer find me, to break me, to love and then hate me. I redefine me. I'm changing lives inside me, breaking the mold of your antagonistic hold where you are no longer in control. Because I redefine me. I'm creating inside me a new DNA to reject the negatives you say. There your words can no longer find me, to torment and confine me. Because each time I remind me that I redefine me. And that is the poem. It's very simple, but it's very powerful. Because here in this country, there are so many battles and uphill battles that people face. When I'm in my country, I didn't have to deal with like racism. You have to deal with so many different sectors of society that you're faced with. So people find solace in this poem because whichever element of life they're coming from, whether it's the religious or it's a cultural or it's racism or it's religious, they have this thing. This poem has created a new or helped to create a new way for them. And that's because of this poem. I've sold a lot of books, a lot of copies of the book from this poem. Only so that is just one of the things that I do. And I'm still working on poems. Now, backtrack a little bit. Before I left Jamaica, I produced an album. It's called Portrait of Praise. And on that album, there's a song called If You Miss Me. It's a very religious album, done in a reggae style. And that album was one of the song If You Miss Me has now become a household name. There's so many artists that have done cover version of the song. And the song that gave me my name, so to speak, in Jamaica because of that song. If You Miss Me, so many people, churches, you don't go to a concert in Jamaica without singing that song. You don't have a performance in Jamaica without singing that song. That song is also one of the highlights of my album in 2000. And then now I did another album called Blessings and Honor, has some great songs on it too. And that song also has done very well for me. The album actually has done very well for me, and of course, the straight reggae, which has also been an uplifter. The music in it is vibrant, vibrant reggae music. That the lyrics are uplifting, and some of them are thought provoking. You know, that portrait there was when I did a live performance at the Spirit Square in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was more like a competition, it was. And not a competition, more like a presentation. So you can see part of the audience right there. And that gentleman was the host. It was very, very beautiful. I did a poem. I did some of the poems from that book. And I also did some of the songs from the Blessings and Honor, that song. That's the CD right there called Blessings and Honor. And you can get that CD and the book. And also that one is my latest CD that we produced in 2017 here called Real Thing. And one of the highlights of that album, Real Thing, is one of the songs that everyone seemed to love. And you can also go to my website, my YouTube channel. If you just type in my name, Dianna, Wright, Wright, or if you type 16 bars, 16 bars, multimedia, in the YouTube, you can see that you can hear the songs over on my channel. All right. So that's just some of the things that we have been doing and we have been working with right now for myself, especially during this pandemic when people don't really get a chance to go out that much. You have to let your creative energies flow. You have to let your creative spirits flow. Even if you think, that what you have might not be a gift, you have to look into yourself and find that energy. Find that whatever it is that is empowering you, or whatever it is that is giving you the lift during your downtime, and use and internalize that and allow that to bring you the positive energies. You may be surprised how something simple as writing a book or sharing an experience or writing a poem can actually transform someone's life. When like I told you earlier, when I did this poem, when I did this book, the poem, Redefine Me, that changed so many lives, as people have told me. And because of that, I want you to also use what you have and use it to cultivate something new and something beautiful in the lives and minds of people. All right. So now, as a published author, I find that sometimes people may say, why didn't you go to a known publisher to get your work published or so on? But for me, it, I didn't like the kind of negative drawback I was getting from, like known publishers. They're saying that, okay, you're not famous or you don't have a big name. And so I come up under a lot of scrutiny. So what I did was I just look back on the skills and talents that I have. And that's when I decided to myself, I said, Dianna, you know what? You can do it. And I bought the graphics program, bought everything that I need. And I, of course, from Jamaica, I was doing graphics designing. I just cultivated it myself. I designed it myself. I did my own promotion. And I'm so happy that I did because it has changed so many, many lives. And it didn't stop there. In 2017, we moved from North Carolina, from Alabama to another state. And in 2017, we formed a new company that is called the 16 Bars. And with 16 Bars, we now have a recording studio where we're working with other artists. There's this gentleman, his name is Michael Hill. Oh, Michael is a dynamic singer. And if you go on the YouTube channel, 16bars.com, you will see Michael Hill. You can look at the songs. He has a song called Silly You. I'm the author of that song. Chris Napier, my engineer, is the producer and the engineer for that song. It's a very, very beautiful song. It's a love song, actually. And it's R&B, and I'm sure that you will love it. Also, with Michael and I, we're working on a movie right now called Let Me Down Easy. If you go on the the YouTube channel again. Just type my name, Dianna Wright, Wright on YouTube. You'll be able to see the excerpt of the movie called Let Me Down Easy. And in the movie, there's a beautiful song that he sing with the title Let Me Down Easy. I'm also the writer of that song, and we produced it here. Um, you can preview the excerpt, and that song has a lot of morals to it. Currently, we are still working on the movie. We're shooting right now, and we're getting it together. So I just want to encourage you, to let you know that it doesn't matter where you find yourself, in whatever situation you find yourself, pandemic or no pandemic, you should be striving for success. You should not be waiting for someone to do things for you, because most of the time, a big name will not even look at you. A big name will say, no, you're not famous. And sometimes the things that you might end up doing just to sign a contract for a big name, it might not worth it. It might not worth it. You might lose your moral character. You might lose your dignity. So I say, don't ever look down on yourself. Whatever it is that you find within you, if you are a seamstress, if you are a painter, if anything that you can do, now is a grand time for people to even if you can bake, you can go around, bake little goodies to your neighborhood. You give out treats, ask people to taste, to give a treat. You can have maybe like a singer or a musician to come by while you do a demonstration. Have people come by and taste your food, taste your cookie, listen to your music. If you sing, you can do a penny concert or a free concert. Maybe in your town square, have people come by, listen to your music. These people are starving for entertainment. People are starving for that one-on-one people relationship. So now is a great time for you to find a way to cooperate. I mean, to link up with people and to make this magic happen. Just like what Krishna Raj is doing right now on the Trendz Trendz talk, making this beautiful link, so I can come to the beautiful people of India to let you know what I do. All right. So also we have a very dynamic reggae artist. His name is Gumbe, and this man has an African name, and he's a great singer. I interviewed him on my channel too, and you'll be hearing some more works from Gumbe culture. Also, you'll be hearing some more works from Michael O'Hill. And keep an eye out. Just keep an eye out for what we're doing. My name is Dianna Wright again. Keep an eye out for my website at www.16barsmm.com, and also my YouTube channel. Go and like, subscribe, and share, because we have great work coming out. We have this movie production that we're working on. And like I was telling Krishna Raj, that I would love to what would I say this now? To do a music with someone from India. I know I don't speak the language, the Indian language. I know you may have many languages, but like I was explaining to you off camera, that I could do the English version of the reggae, and I could fuse, with your artist, and then he or she could sing in your Indian language, and then we could, because we have a studio, so we could say that we could make it work. And I think that would be a beautiful, beautiful creation. I would love to do that. So if you are an artist, in over there in I don't know which province you are, or whomever will be watching this, and if you like if you just like differences, and like to fuse your music and like something new, link me up, and then we can do it. One thing I like to say from my music, I just like to sing this one little part for you. I hope you'll understand it. It says, I just love it on my heart, can't tear it apart. It's not a real thing, the real thing. Just love it on my heart, can't tear it apart. The real thing, the real thing. Love is a. I leave it right there because I want you to go to the channel where you can listen and download the music. You can buy our music there at the website, and you can just listen, or like, share, and subscribe. All right. And for those of you families who are home, they want to say, husbands, love your wives, treat them nice, love your children. Even, don't say that, oh, because you can't go out to the bar or to the club. This is a grand time to make family count. This is a grand time to understand a little bit more about your children, get to know a little bit more about your wife, and just do great things together and make things work. And this song is for your family. When you fall in love with someone, it is the greatest feeling of all. So that's a little tidbit I'm giving you to your husband, just for you dedicated to your wife and wife to your husband. So again, I want to say it was great meeting you, great talking to you on Trendz, great meeting you, and I hope that we can link up, hope we can share some music together, and hope that we can do some great things together. All right, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so very much. Again, my name is Dianna Wright. We say one love. Bye bye.
Yeah, most definitely. It was a superb talk by you, Diana. You've not only said a poetry for us, you've sung a few songs. I'd quickly like to focus on your early childhood again. You said you were born in a place called Clarion. Okay, Clarendon. What was that?
Clarendon, Clarendo in Clarendon in Jamaica.
Clarendon in Jamaica. Could you just talk about your early childhood, how where you were born, and you said you were born near a parish, and then you would go and be part of the gospel music there.
Yes. So I was born and raised in Clarendon, which is Jamaica has 14 parishes. Like America has different states, like 50 states. Jamaica has 14 parishes. Growing up in Jamaica, I grew up in the church. So that's how I spent most of my life in the church, in the New Testament church of God. And then, I was always singing in the choir, not in the choir, I was always singing, going up to do a little presentation in church, and they've always loved my voice, and that's how I really started, until when I was going to school, like in the primary school, when I started primary school at age 12, no, at age 7, sorry. I was always good at writing, and that's how my teachers always just you know, relished me for my writing, had great writing skills. Even when I was small, I was 9 years old, I was always being very good at writing competitions, good at doing my essay, my homework and everything. So it really started there, and that's how I developed, into the writer that I am today.
Right. You just spoke about a few people, a few poets from Jamaica, like in Reggae and Cole and all that. Could you just elaborate a little more on your interactions with them? What were the kind of inspirations that you draw from these kind of people?
Okay, so in Jamaica, we had what is called the Jamaica Poetry Society. And in the Jamaica Poetry Society, you had a wealth of talents coming together to meet. I think we used to meet once a month. And like Jagger Cole, Jagger Fitzroy Cole is a renowned, he's a prolific writer. That gentleman he is, I don't know, I can't find words to tell you how great of a writer he is. And we always, go to fuse, we'd have like a fusion when we go to the Jamaica Poetry Society. We go and each one would take their turn to go and stand up and perform. And so Jagger and I have done a lot of work together. In fact, I've even designed a book cover for Jagger. We call him Jagger. His name is Fitzroy Jagger Cole, so we call him Jagger. Right. So I have done design a book cover for him called The Journey, because I've worked with some other people. So we have even performed together with Kenny Salmon and JCDC work. We've done some private work together with Dub Traffickers and a gentleman called Ras Rod, which is also a very dynamic poet in Jamaica too. Tommy Ricketts was one of the earlier poets in Jamaica, and I've done some work with him too. A gentleman called Habakkuk. We've also done some work with him. He now works at a radio station. He still works at a cultural roots radio station in Jamaica called Roots FM, and we've worked on several shows, done performance several stage shows together. Also at the Philip Sherlock Center at the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. Oh, we have done performances for the British High Commission. We've done performances for several of the embassies, the foreign embassies, when they're having functions in Jamaica. So at that time, we've done a whole lot of work. Raja Asphalt is another great poet again that we have done. That I've done work with, and the list goes on and the list goes on. And there's so many. I hope I'm not forgetting some of the the ones I've worked with, but it goes on, and we all strengthen each other and work together. And we've made a few dollars from performing. They say poetry, you don't make money from poets from being a poet, but it just depends on how you sell the idea. It depends on what you do. Like if you're having a show, and you are able, if your work is influential, if your work can lift people from a lower place, can encourage them, and once you get that out there, and people know that you are a motivator, you motivate people in your poems, and you encourage people in your poems, you can make money off of your poems. Because I even have poetry plaques that I make, like from the poems. I design poetry plaques. Maybe like some of them are like 7 by 7 by 11, or some of them are like larger. People order those things from me, and the poem is one of the poem. "Redefine Me" is one of those plaques that I've made a whole lot of purchase, a lot of sales from, because of how it uplifts people from that poem. So there's no end to anything that you can do. Don't ever say you can't. It doesn't matter if people are saying, no, you don't make money from it. You do what you do best, and you put yourself out there, and you'll be able to make some money, whether it is small money or a lot of money. Just keep pushing yourself, and eventually you'll get to the point where you reach. Yes.
Well, you're also an independent artist and a spoken word performer. Is that a natural progression from poetry?
It is poetry. The What we say in poetry, we say we take the writing from the page to the stage. So the performance poetry is how we when we do performance poetry, we don't just normally just stand and say, okay, I redefine me. Sometimes what we do, we do like a skit around the poem. So, or okay, for example, um, I'm trying to remember the year, but before I left, there's this gentleman. His name is Kenny Salmon. He wanted me to do a presentation, and the presentation was just poetry, right? So the author at that time was Martin Glenn, and I used all of Martin Glenn's poems, and I set the stage. Like I decorated the stage. I had the props, I had the sound effect. We had the whole 9 yards. Like you think you were watching a one-woman show. In fact, it was called Jazz-O-Rama, which was a one-woman show, and I was the only woman in the show. And all the pieces were poems. So I fused the poems in such a way to tell a story that you would not know that it was a poem, that they were poems. You would think that it was just like a whole line, but all of them were poems. And then I used one of the poems to also, turn it into a song when we had some jazz music playing, and just to give a nice feel. So it was like I set the stage like I was in a concert stage, sitting singing, but it was a poem I was singing. Then I was talking about this and that and life and situation, but it was actually poems that I was actually reading, and I did it all from memory. So when we say we take the poem from the page to the stage, that's what we mean, right? So that's how
Right.
we, myself, Raja Asphalt, Rasrod, um, that's how we do our performance poem.
Right, a wonderful experience and the interactions with each of these artists that you've shared here. In this part of the world, in India, when we talk about people of Jamaica, there are three things that come into play. One is obviously cricket. There are a lot of cricket players who represent the West Indies in cricket coming from Jamaica, and then
Yes.
yeah, there's a bit of athletics that is there now, and obviously the reggae music. So, what was the influence in reggae music? Can you throw some light on that?
Okay. For reggae music, like I told you earlier, I was born to sing. Now, reggae is just something that I gravitate to the reggae. I love the drum and bass. And I guess that's why I love the poetry, and especially the African aspect of poetry, because it has that drum accent. It accentuated with a lot of drums and bass and that vibration. So reggae, I was just attracted to reggae, and mostly a lot of my friends, even though I raised up in the church, a lot of my friends are Rastafarians. And the Rastafarians, when they do their music, they're drawn to the reggae. And so that also becomes a part of me. And that was just an easy transition. And I wouldn't say it was such much of a transition, because you can sing gospel music on a reggae beat. Sometimes when people think of reggae, they think only of Saint Selassie and Rastafari and so on. But the reggae music is it blankets the country. That is, when we do our music, that is what Jamaican artists are known for. Whether you sing gospel or whether you sing secular or whatever it is that you do, reggae music is the highlight of the moment for any artist. So it was just an easy integration for me.
Perfect. Can you explain the term Rasta for us? Because we might not really know the term. What is Rasta for you?
Okay, so Rastafari is a group, it's a cultural group of people who, they don't, like, I have my hair out, they lock the hair, like Bob Marley. You see Bob Marley's hair, right? Rastafari is identified most times by the locking of the hair. And Rastafari, their culture is a little different, because Rastafari, for example, they don't eat pork. I myself don't eat pork. They don't eat pork. Most of the time, a Rastafari go vegetarian, and even if they eat some kind of flesh, is like fish. Rastafarians, their religion, they're not conformed to religion, like the religion of our country mostly, because they believe in self-preservation. They look to Ethiopia and Africa, of course, being the mother country. And of course they hail the late emperor Haile Selassie. Some of them see him as a deity. Some of them see him as the emperor, the great emperor that he was in Ethiopia. And so, they have what is called an upful living, like the gentleman I interviewed, Gumbe. They base their culture off of self-preservation, and also they look to someone who look like them, someone who is who strengthen the race, and promote the African culture. And so the Emperor Haile Selassie was one of that great leader at the time in Ethiopia, and a lot of Rastafarians look to him as a great leader, and even though he's passed, still look to him and what he represented as a great leader. So that's how the little that I know of Rastafari. And like I say, they don't do the pork. They don't eat certain meat. They have a certain kind of way how they live. They live a certain kind of way, meaning that they walk a certain way. They don't, like, say, segregate with the traditional, say, go to church on Sunday kind of situation. They're more, like I said, for self-preservation and to preserve the community and the culture. And again, they're identified by the locking of the hair. Yes.
Right. We can talk about the locking. That's again an interesting subject, because it's going to take a long time to really get to know about it. Maybe we can talk it on another day. That's an interesting point that you've just brought in. The other thing is that, during the colonial times, there's a lot of connect between India and places from where you originate. I know in an informal talk with you, you had also mentioned that you actually possibly come from a place in, could be Ghana or could be in Kenya. That is where you connect yourself, and especially there's a lot of connect between India and the slave trade that used to happen. Could you throw some light on that? Or have you met any Indians there personally?
I have not. Okay, like in Jamaica, we have a lot of Indians. We have the darker race Indian, like myself, and we have the lighter race, the lighter skin, like yourself. Um, Even though, well, like my father, we, well, we don't call my father an Indian, but like I was telling you at some point, my father has the more kind of hair, like the texture here that you have, but he has more curls, more those big fat curls in his hair. But he's the darker, the, you know, of the darker kind. My mother, on the other hand, is more of an African descent, and which is a little lighter, but not that's not a here nor there. But in like my father, they would say my father is what you call of more of an Indian descent, because just because of the texture of the hair that he has. But like I said, he's of the darker skin shade, and I look a lot like my father. Um, well, he's no longer. But of course, I'm some of my mother and some of my father. Now, Africa, as far as Africa is concerned, during the slave trade, we understand by way of history that most of the people in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, they descended from Ghana, because when I myself went to Ghana and I visited the slave house, or they call it the castle that the enslavers, I call them, used to live, and where they imprisoned our people in in those dungeons. I went in there. In fact, on my YouTube channel, on if you type my name again, Dianna, DIANNAWRIGHT on YouTube, you can look. You will see I have uh, uh, three videos called "What You See in Ghana Will Shock You," and I did a walk through the tunnels, and go through all the dark places where our ancestors were held. And so it's gruesome. It the story of it, but I told the story quite nicely in the video on my channel. So we know that we most of us were descended from Africa and from Ghana, from that part in Ghana. And we understand too that India, some of the people in India were told that they were indentured servants, and so they were coming to this side of the world to work. And then their possessions were their documents were confiscated, and then they were never allowed to go back. And so they were spread out and sent here and there. So colonization has its claws on on the races, the African race, the Indian race, and who knows, what other diaspora, what other race that they have, had their claws into. But all in all, I'm just thanking the Most High that even though we are not totally out of the woods, but I'm still glad that we can still make a connection and still have a livelihood, and that the Most High has preserved us, for such a time as this, preserved our offspring for such a time as this. And it would be such a beautiful thing if the Indian race, whether the lighter race or the darker skinned Indian, along with the African race, can really come together and realize that we are one people. There is a tribe in India called the Siddhi. I don't know if you're familiar with them. The Siddhi, right?
Yes.
I know of them, and I have been in dialogue. It's been a while now with one of the gentlemen who who is over the community, and when you listen to the story of the cities, it's not a good one. But all in all, it will be beautiful for the lighter race, the lighter skin shade Indian and the darker ones to come together, because like I said, we are one people. And uh, the colonization has did a masterful job of segregating us, of separating us, and letting us see that we are different and that we are so indifferent to each other, which is not true. When you listen to the Indian music, some of the way the drums go, and you listen to the African music and the reggae music, you can feel the vibration. You can feel the vibration and the connection. and I know that India has so many talented people, like the Indian, like the African culture, like the people in Jamaica. And wow, it would be heaven on earth if we could fuse that together and work together. There would be no stopping us. But I don't know if that's possible. I'm hoping that that is possible someday, that we can really get together and live as one that we are, despite the
Yeah,
shade, just
maybe
shade.
they came from the eastern side of Africa, and that was the influence here. So, did you actually get to go to Kenya and also see some of the things, or it was only in Ghana that you spotted
Yes,
these kind of
I've
trades happening?
yes, I've not gone to Kenya. It is something that I'm working on, but because of the pandemic case, I wasn't able to go. But Ghana has a lot of the footprints of our people, has a lot of the footprints of the colonialization, a lot of the footprints of our successes and of our defeat. You see the infrastructures are still standing there. When you walk into the tunnel, into the dungeons, it's almost as though you can touch the lives that passed through there. So, Ghana is a rich place of the history, that holds the history of our people, you know. And it is a sight to see. I hope one day you could go there to see, and and just to, if you are interested in something like that, to get an experience of what we went through. And if you get a chance also to go to Jamaica, you will see the mixture of culture, the darker race, and you'll see people who look exactly like you, but they talk like me. So it will be very interesting.
Right,
It will be very interesting.
exactly. So, going further, you said that you moved to the US somewhere in 2006. You migrated, right? And you also mentioned about the culture shock that happened. And could you also speak about possibly very subtly the racism that is still existing at this point in time, and what were some of the experience that you had to face personally?
Okay, I have not. Yeah, culture shock is one, but racism that I've experienced is more subtle. It's more unspoken racism. I've never been an outright victim of racism, and that also can be very deadly. Meaning that I I chalked it up to be racism because, for example, like when I would apply for certain jobs that I know I was qualified for, I wouldn't get it. When I was in Jamaica, I've worked for several lawyers, and I know that the system has changed. The law and terms are different. When I came here, I went to school and I did the paralegal course, and I am a paralegal by education. And it was so difficult to get a job as a paralegal when I lived in Alabama for many years. And that's why I had to resort to working in healthcare until long after I was able, I guess the door opened, the most I opened the door, and I was able to work with the Alabama Legal Services, not just as a paralegal, but I was working as a long-term care ombudsman, which is a state job. And that was one of the key points for me also too, because I get to advocate for residents who are, living in like in long-term care facilities who needed a voice. And that was part of my job. And I love doing that. And I love bringing them the relief and satisfaction. So after long, long waiting and many months and years of trying, I finally landed that job. I hear a lot of people around me talking about the segregation, because Alabama was big in racism during the time. Because like for Montgomery, Salem, and Montgomery, if I'm saying it right, it was where Martin Luther King had a lot of the marches, and where a lot of the people in the black people the African American people in Alabama suffered a lot of ills, well, in all of Alabama, in all of America, technically, being of a different race. But Alabama also carries a lot of the footprints of slavery. there. And there, I mean, for me, I wasn't someone who went out a lot because I didn't know the culture of the people. So I didn't associate with a lot of people there. You know, I kind of just go to work and home, and I was minding my own business of doing my production with my book and so on and so forth. But you do see a disparity between the races there, but most of it is kind of subtle, you know.
Right. So you somehow managed to work this out yourself and now figure out a career for yourself in production and stuff. So you overcame the challenge or the barrier. What do you think of people, other blacks in the country similar to you? What are some of the challenges that they are facing, or any challenges that you personally face yourself?
Okay, because I am, and I hear people say this a lot, because I'm from the Caribbean, I have a winning attitude. I will go the length, breadth, and width to make sure that I would say we hustle. We have a hustling mentality to make sure that we do we do what is legally required of us to, you know, to put our foot in the door. um, while some of the people here, they might have like a lot of benefits. So I didn't know of those benefits, or I am not on any benefits, like any government benefits. Some people here, I was told that maybe because they know of the system and know the benefits that they can get, some of them may rely on the system, while us from another country, we don't really want to be on no system. We just want to work and accumulate our money so we can build and stand on our own. I think a lot of the Black Americans here too, I think they have tried, and I think they are still trying to empower themselves. For example, there are very successful Black Americans here, like especially like in Atlanta, and yes, there are so many broken ones too by the system, but it is something that you as an individual, even though you might face racism, you see the police are killing, you're shooting people, like black people have suffered at the hands of the police here. I have a song on my channel, on my YouTube channel, called Can't Breathe. Can't breathe, hands off face down. Why this is a 9 minute round. Can't breathe, 4.1 officer. I hope so. I'm singing free. That is one of the songs. So, and I wrote that song in relation to the police brutality here in this country. So black blacks in America continue to face a lot of the challenges, and but some of them, they are working, they're striving, they're doing their best to come up, and we continue to pray for all of us as of people of color, people of the darker race in this country. And like I said, many of Americans and many of I see a lot of Indians here and they're doing very well. I see a lot of um, Africans here, they're doing very well. I see a lot of Jamaicans here, they're doing very well too. So it's just where you find yourself and how determined you are to to wade in the water, as the ancestors would say, wade in the water, to wade out your time, do what you need to do, and to get yourself out of the woods. It's a long journey, but it takes working together and teamwork to bring us up.
Right. I see that you're pretty hopeful at this point in time and looking at the future. Tell me, what are you currently planning to do in the next few months? We see the end of the pandemic. What are your plans? I see maybe you're planning to do a film or some music album. What next?
Yes, I am working on a film that I talked about earlier. It's called Let Me Down Easy. And Let Me Down Easy is a love story. It's a love story, but it's more like a suspense love story. It has many, many turns and twists to it. Um, so currently, where we did a first part, just a little mini version of it, also on my YouTube channel. Uh, just type 16 bars multimedia in YouTube and you'll see the channel. You can go there and watch it. It's 30 minutes long. And in it, the theme song, Let Me Down Easy, the gentleman sings the song in that. Michael O'Healy sings that song, and it's a beautiful, beautiful song. So I'm currently sourcing people, sourcing acts, and getting it all together, getting the script together because we have started to do some shootings for that. And as soon as the pandemic is over, um, we will hopefully by the grace of the Most High, we will be able to release that movie. Well, it might take a little longer. I'm trying to do it big, so I'm hoping and praying, and for the success of it, and that it will really be something that people can really you know look to as a movie that is self-produced by Dianna Wright and 16 bars. Yes. So
Yes.
We're working on it.
So we wish you best of luck. I also see that you'd interviewed Michael in one of your channels.
Yes.
So what was the interaction about?
Okay, so Michael, he is the gentleman in the movie Let Me Down Easy. That's the same gentleman. And Michael has a beautiful gift. Michael Hill has a beautiful gift. He sings R&B. And currently we are writing the songs for him. We're producing all the songs for him. And we're just doing all the work for him because he's part of our company, 16 Bars. He's one of our artists. And we just talked about his music, talked about his life. Um, because Michael has been around, he's been singing for several years, but then he stopped and then went to get married, to start a family. And after the family, now he realizes that hey, he's still young, he still has the gift, and we can make it work. So that's what we're doing. We're making in our company, 16 Bars. We don't look at age. We don't ever look at age. We look at talent. Wherever the talent lies, and if you have that, if you believe in yourself and we can work together, that's what we look at, and that's what we try to work with people who are of that persuasion. Yes.
So Diana, I see that we are just shooting time. Any last remarks or anything that you would like to tell both of our audiences?
Okay, so basically, again, I want to say thank you so much for having me on this platform. And I also want to use this platform to let the audience know that you said it earlier, that I am a woman of many hats. I'm a graphic designer. I am a movie producer. I write songs. I am also a singer myself. I direct the movie. I'm a director. And the reason for that, you might say, how do I wear so many hats? But I don't like to be let down by people, so I learned to do all things by myself. And I work night and day to get everything I need accomplished. And also, I just want to say that don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Visit my channel, Dianna Wright, on YouTube, or just 16 Bars 1 and a 6 BARS Multimedia on YouTube, and you'll see my channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, you can get my music on my website, www.16barsmm.com. You can buy downloads on my music on my website there. And also, my book is also available. We're out of stock now, but I'm also getting some more stocks in, and I do the publication myself. So again, we do everything. But I like to collaborate with people. So I would really, really want to do a song. I have a gentleman from India. I don't remember his name. Hopefully we are going to work on something together. But if you're listening and you're an artist and you would like to try out reggae, you don't have to know how to sing it really. We'll just give you the metronome, how to keep the tempo, and if we can fuse, we can write a song together, and we can we'll be able to do something together. So if you are interested in working with me, hey, just hit me up. Just go to my YouTube channel, just send me a link, or you can send me an email at Dianna, Dianna Wright at gmail.com. That's Dianna Wright, WRIGHT at gmail.com. Or just go to my YouTube and just send me a message, and we will work together. So I want to hear from you, and I want to do something spectacular with you.
Right, Diana, it was a pleasure talking to you today, and you shared a lot of positivity, great attitude coming forth. And let's hope that one day people from both our countries would be able to collaborate and maybe be part of your music. sometime.
Yes, yes, I hope so. I hope so. Thank you.
So thank you again for sparing your time today, Dianna. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and hope our viewers would be able to enjoy this interaction.
Okay, thank you so much.